The text message came on a Tuesday morning while I was having my coffee. My son Darnell's name lit up my phone screen, and I smiled, thinking maybe he was checking on me. It had been 3 weeks since Raymond's funeral, and I was still getting used to the quiet in this house. I opened the message and felt my heart drop straight through the floor. "Ma, I need you to start packing. The house has been sold. You have 2 weeks to clear out. Keisha found you a nice assisted living place. It's all arranged. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." I read it again, then a third time. My hands started shaking so bad I had to put my coffee cup down before I dropped it. 52 years I'd lived in this house. Raymond and I raised Darnell here. This was where we celebrated every birthday, every Christmas, every Sunday dinner after church. This was where Raymond took his last breath in our bedroom upstairs, holding my hand and telling me he loved me. And my son sold it, without even asking me, without even telling me until it was done. I sat there in my kitchen, staring at that message, and something cold settled in my chest. Not sadness, not yet. Something harder than that. My phone buzzed again. "The lawyer says you need to be out by the 15th. We'll help you pack this weekend. Get rid of most of your stuff. You won't need much where you're going." Where I was going. Like I was a piece of furniture being moved to storage. I looked around my kitchen. The yellow curtains I'd sewn myself back in 1985. The table where Darnell did his homework every night. The spot on the wall where Raymond's height marks for Darnell were still penciled in, year after year. My grandmother's cast iron skillet hanging by the stove. I smiled then, not a happy smile, the kind of smile that comes when you finally see something clearly that's been hiding in plain sight. Before we continue, shout out to Deshaun Miller from Detroit. We appreciate the love you show by commenting and sharing. Let me back up and tell you how I got here. How a 70-year-old widow ended up getting evicted from her own home by her only child. It started 3 months ago when Raymond got sick. Cancer, they said. Stage 4. By the time they found it, there wasn't much anyone could do except make him comfortable. The doctors gave him 6 months, but my Raymond was always stubborn. He lasted 3. Those 3 months changed everything. Darnell started coming around more, which should have warmed my heart. He'd been distant for years, ever since he married Keisha 5 years back. She was one of those women who thought family meant her family, not mine. Every holiday became a negotiation. Every Sunday dinner became an excuse about why they couldn't make it. My 2 grandbabies, Zion and Amara, I barely knew them anymore. But when Raymond got sick, suddenly Darnell was at the house 3-4 times a week, always asking questions. How was Dad feeling? What did the doctors say? Did we need anything? At first, I thought my boy was finally stepping up, being the man his father raised him to be. Raymond was so happy to see him. Even in pain, even barely able to sit up some days, he'd light up when Darnell walked through that door. "That's my boy," Raymond would whisper to me. I knew he'd come through when it mattered. I wanted to believe it too. Lord knows I did. But Keisha came with him one evening, about 2 months before Raymond passed. I was in the kitchen fixing Raymond some of that ginger tea he liked, and I heard them in the living room talking. Keisha's voice carried like it always did. "Baby, I'm just saying. Have you talked to him about the house? About what's in the will?" "Not yet," Darnell said. "It's not the right time." "When is the right time? He could go any day now. You need to know what we're working with." I stood there frozen with that teapot in my hand. "We," Darnell said. "Ma's gonna be here. This is her house too." Keisha laughed. Actually laughed. "Darnell, baby, you can't be serious. What's a old woman like her need with a whole house? She could barely take care of your daddy these last few weeks. You seen how tired she looks? She needs to be somewhere they can look after her." "I don't know, Keisha. Look, I've been doing research. There's a nice facility over on Parkside. Clean, good staff, and it's only $2,000 a month. That's nothing compared to what we could get for this place. This neighborhood is hot right now. Houses going for 400,000. That's our nest egg, baby. That's Zion and Amara's college fund. My tea kettle started whistling, loud and shrill. I turned off the stove, but my hands were shaking. When I walked into the living room with Raymond's tea, they both got quiet real quick. Put on those fake smiles people wear when they've been caught talking about you. Mama Williams, you need any help? Keisha asked, sweet as pie. No, baby, I said, keeping my voice steady. I got it. But I didn't got it. Not really. That conversation played in my head all night while I sat with Raymond, watching him sleep. I didn't tell him what I heard. The man was dying. He didn't need to know his son was already counting his inheritance before he was even gone. Raymond passed on a Saturday morning in April. Peaceful, the hospice nurse said. I was holding his hand. Darnell didn't make it in time. He said traffic was bad. The funeral was beautiful. Pastor Jenkins did a wonderful service at First Baptist, where Raymond and I had been members for 42 years. The church was packed. Raymond had been a deacon, led the men's ministry, coached Little League for 20 years. People loved him. Darnell cried at the funeral. I want to believe those tears were real. After the burial, folks came back to the house like they do. The church sisters brought enough food to feed an army. Sister Carol made her famous potato salad. Sister Denise brought her peach cobbler. Brother Willis brought his wife's collard greens. My kitchen was full of love, full of life, full of people who cared. Keisha spent the whole time in a corner on her phone. Darnell kept asking me if I was okay, if I needed anything. Where did Dad keep his papers? I should have known then. The house cleared out by evening. Just me and Darnell left, sitting in the living room like we used to when he was a boy, and we'd watch TV together after dinner. Ma, he said, we need to talk about things. About Dad's will. About finances. Not tonight, baby, I said. I'm tired. We can talk later. Ma, it's important. I need to know what Dad left. I need to know if you're going to be okay. I looked at my son. Really looked at him. When did he get so much like his father around the eyes? When did he grow into a man I didn't quite recognize anymore? I'll be fine, I said. Your father made sure of that. But Ma, Darnell, not tonight. He left looking frustrated. I locked the door behind him and stood in my quiet house, surrounded by all these casserole dishes and Tupperware containers of food I didn't ask for and would never eat alone. That's when I went to Raymond's office, the small room at the back of the house where he kept all his important papers. His filing cabinet was organized like always, color-coded folders, everything labeled. I pulled out the folder marked For Evelyn. Raymond and I had been married for 51 years. We'd been through everything together. The bad times in the 70s when he couldn't find steady work. The good times when his construction business finally took off in the 80s. The scary times when Darnell got sick with meningitis at age 7. The proud times when Darnell graduated college. And through it all, Raymond and I had one rule. No secrets. Well, mostly no secrets. Raymond had 2 life insurance policies I never told Darnell about. One through his job that would pay out $300,000. Another private one for $200,000. $500,000 total. Then there was the pension. Raymond worked 35 years for the city. His pension would pay me $4,000 a month for the rest of my life. And then there was the house in Spain. Raymond and I bought it 15 years ago, back when the market crashed over there and you could get property for nothing. A little villa in a town called Ronda, up in the mountains. We'd been going to Spain every summer for years, fell in love with the place. When the opportunity came up, Raymond said, "Let's do it. This can be our retirement dream." We spent every summer there. Darnell knew we went to Spain. He didn't know we owned property there. He thought we were renting. We never corrected him. The villa was paid off. No mortgage. Worth about 400,000 euros now, maybe more. The market had come back strong. So there I was, A widow of 3 weeks, looking at papers that showed I had $500,000 in insurance money coming, $4,000 a month in pension payments, a house in Spain worth $500,000, and this house I was sitting in that was probably worth another $400,000. I wasn't a rich woman, but I damn sure wasn't a poor one either. And my son had just told me he sold my house and was putting me in a home. I sat there in Raymond's office until midnight, thinking, planning. Raymond used to say I was the smart one in our marriage. He could build anything with his hands, but I was the one who could see 3 moves ahead like a chess player. By the time I went to bed, I knew exactly what I was going to do. The next morning, I called my lawyer. Raymond and I had used Daniel Okonkwo for years. Good man, sharp as a tack. His mama and I served on the church hospitality committee together. "Mrs. Williams," he said when he answered, "I'm so sorry for your loss. Raymond was a good man." "Thank you, baby. I need to talk to you about something. Can you come by the house?" He came that afternoon. I showed him Darnell's text messages. Daniel's jaw got tight while he read them. "Mrs. Williams, did you give Darnell power of attorney?" "No, sir." "Did you sign anything recently? Any papers Darnell brought over?" "Nothing." Daniel leaned back in his chair. "Then your son has committed fraud. He can't sell your house without your permission. This isn't his property to sell." "I know that," I said calmly, "and I know what I want to do about it. But first, I need you to help me with a few things." We talked for 2 hours. By the time Daniel left, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Something like power, like control. Like maybe Raymond was right when he always said I was the strongest person he knew. The next 2 weeks were busy. I had a lot to arrange, a lot to pack, like Darnell said, just not what he thought I'd be packing. Darnell came over that Saturday with Keisha and a U-Haul truck. I watched them pull up from my bedroom window. Keisha was already pointing at things in the front yard, probably deciding what she wanted to keep. I went downstairs and opened the door before they could knock. "Ma," Darnell said, all fake cheerful. "We're here to help you pack. Where do you want to start?" I looked at my son, at his wife standing behind him with her designer purse and her fake smile, at the U-Haul truck with some stranger sitting in the driver's seat. "Actually," I said, "there's been a change of plans." And that's when I pulled out my phone and called 911. "Yes, hello? I need to report an attempted property theft. My son is trying to steal my house." Darnell's face went white. "Ma, what are you—" "And while you're sending someone, you might want to send the fraud division too. I have text messages showing conspiracy to commit elder abuse and financial exploitation." Keisha grabbed Darnell's arm. "Baby, let's go. Let's just go." "Oh no," I said, stepping onto my porch. "You're not going anywhere. See, I spent the last 2 weeks talking to lawyers, and police, and the county adult protective services. Y'all wanted to put me in a home? Well, let me tell you about the home I'm going to instead." I pulled out a printed photo from my pocket. The villa in Ronda. White walls, terracotta roof, mountain views for days. "This is my house in Spain. Paid off. Been mine for 15 years. Your daddy and I bought it together. And in 3 days, I'm getting on a plane and moving there permanently. I got my pension, I got my insurance money, and I got a beautiful life waiting for me across the ocean." Darnell's mouth was hanging open. Keisha looked like she'd been slapped. "But Ma, the house." "What house, Darnell? The one you tried to steal from me? The one you somehow forged documents to sell?" "Oh yes, baby. The title company called me. Asked if I really wanted to sell. That's when I found out what you did." 2 police cars were pulling up to the curb. Sister Carol from next door was on her porch watching, her phone up recording everything. "Mrs. Williams?" one of the officers said, walking up. "You made a report about property fraud?" "Yes, officer. These are the people who tried to steal my house. I have all the documentation inside, text messages, forged papers, everything." The look on Darnell's face was something I'll never forget. Shock. Fear. And somewhere underneath it all, shame. like he was finally realizing what he'd become. "Ma, please," he said. "We can talk about this. I didn't mean—" "You didn't mean what, Darnell? You didn't mean to tell me to pack my things? You didn't mean to sell my house without asking? You didn't mean to put your sick mama in a home so you could get your hands on your inheritance early?" Keisha was crying now. Real tears or fake ones, I couldn't tell anymore. "Officers," I said, "I have everything you need inside. Come on in. Let me show you what my son did." As I led the police into my house that nobody was taking from me, I looked back at Darnell one more time. He was my baby boy. The child Raymond and I loved more than life itself. The little boy who used to crawl into our bed during thunderstorms. The teenager who cried on my shoulder when his first girlfriend broke his heart. The man who walked down the aisle and promised to make us proud. And now he was standing in my driveway, about to be arrested for trying to steal from his own mother. Raymond always said that people show you who they really are when they think nobody's watching. When they think you're weak. When they think they can get away with it. My son had shown me exactly who he was, and I had shown him who I was too. The officers were asking me questions. Sister Carol was still recording from her porch. The U-Haul driver had driven off, wanting nothing to do with this mess. And me? I was 70 years old, a widow of 3 weeks, and I had just declared war on my only child. But here's the thing nobody understood yet. This wasn't about the house. It wasn't even about the money. This was about respect, about dignity, about a woman who spent 51 years building a life with a good man and wasn't about to let anyone take that away from her just because she was old and grieving. They thought I was weak. They thought I was alone. They thought I wouldn't fight back. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Officer Martinez was a young woman, couldn't have been more than 30. She sat at my kitchen table with her partner, Officer Thompson, while I laid out everything. The text messages, the phone records, the documents from the title company showing someone had forged my signature on a sales agreement. "Mrs. Williams," Officer Martinez said, looking at her notes, "do you have any idea how your son obtained these documents?" "No, ma'am. But I can tell you I never signed a single paper about selling this house. My husband just passed 3 weeks ago. I've been grieving, not planning to move." Officer Thompson was going through the file Daniel had helped me prepare. "You've been thorough," he said, sounding impressed. "My lawyer helped me, Daniel Okonkwo. He's been our family attorney for 20 years. Through the window, I could see Darnell and Keisha still standing by their car. Keisha was on her phone, probably calling her own lawyer. Darnell just stood there looking lost. Part of me wanted to run out there and hug him. Tell him it was okay. We'd figure it out. That's what mothers do, isn't it? Protect their babies no matter what? But I was tired of protecting people who didn't protect me back. "We're going to need to speak with your son," Officer Martinez said. "This could result in charges for fraud, forgery, and financial exploitation of an elderly person. That last one is a felony in this state." "I understand," I said. And I did. I knew exactly what I was doing when I made that call. They went outside. I watched from my kitchen window as they talked to Darnell. His hands were moving fast, the way they always did when he was trying to explain himself out of trouble. Been doing that since he was 6 years old and broke Sister Patricia's window playing baseball. Keisha had gotten in the car. Smart woman. She knew when to distance herself. My phone rang. Sister Carol. "Girl, what is happening over there?" she said as soon as I answered. "I got the whole thing on video. You want me to send it to you?" "Hold on to it for now, Carol. I might need it later." "Evelyn, honey, are you okay?" "I can come over." "I'm fine, baby. Better than fine, actually." "What did that boy do?" I told her. Everything. The overheard conversation, the texts, the forged sale. Sister Carol sucked her teeth so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. "That's what happens when you marry the wrong woman," I told you when he brought that Keisha around, something wasn't right with her. You remember what I said?" "I remember, Carol." "Mm-hmm. And did you listen?" "No, because you wanted to be supportive." "Well, look where that got you." Sister Carol meant well, but right now I needed to focus. The officers were walking back toward my house. "Let me call you back, Carol." "You better. And if you need anything, and I mean anything, you call me. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. That's the thing about church family. They show up, always have, always will. Officer Martinez came back in. "Mrs. Williams, your son claims this was all a misunderstanding. He says you agreed to sell the house, but forgot because of your grief." I felt my blood pressure spike. "Officer, I'm 70 years old, not senile. I know what I agreed to and what I didn't." "We're not suggesting otherwise, ma'am. But this is a family matter with criminal implications. We need to be thorough." "Then be thorough with those forged documents. Check the signature. My lawyer has copies of my real signature on file." Officer Thompson nodded. "We'll need those for evidence, and we'll need you to come down to the station tomorrow to give a formal statement." "I'll be there first thing." They left with copies of everything, told Darnell not to leave town, told Keisha to get out of the car so they could talk to her separately. I watched the whole thing from my window like it was a TV show, except this was my life, my family, my son being investigated for trying to rob his own mother. After they left, I sat in my quiet house and cried. Not pretty crying either. The ugly kind that makes your whole body shake. The kind that's been building up for weeks and finally breaks through. I cried for Raymond, who would have been heartbroken to see this. I cried for the little boy Darnell used to be, before money and greed changed him. I cried for myself because no matter how strong I was trying to be, losing your husband and your son in the same month breaks something in you. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Ma, it's me. Please don't do this. We can fix this. I'm sorry. Please." Darnell had gotten a new number. Probably thought I'd blocked his old one. I stared at that message for a long time. 2 words kept standing out. We and fix. We. Like we were a team. Like we were in this together. But there was no we anymore. He'd made sure of that when he decided to sell my house behind my back. I deleted the message and blocked the new number. The next morning I went to the police station like I promised. Daniel met me there. We spent 3 hours going over everything. By the time we left, the detective assigned to the case told me they had enough evidence to charge Darnell with forgery and attempted fraud. "The DA will decide if they want to pursue this," Detective Warren said. He was an older black man, maybe 60, with kind eyes. "But Mrs. Williams, I need to ask you something. Are you sure you want to press charges? This is your son." "Detective, if a stranger tried to steal my house, would you ask me if I was sure about pressing charges?" He smiled a little. "No, ma'am, I wouldn't." "Then don't ask me now. Being my son doesn't give him the right to rob me." Daniel squeezed my shoulder. "Detective, Mrs. Williams has made her position clear. When will charges be filed?" "Within the week, probably. We're still investigating to see if anyone else was involved." That caught my attention. "Who else would be involved?" "Mrs. Williams, your son had to get these documents from somewhere. He had to have help creating the forgeries. We're looking into his wife, his friends, anyone who might have assisted." I hadn't thought about that. Darnell wasn't smart enough to pull this off alone. He could barely figure out his own taxes without help. "There's also the matter of the buyer," Detective Warren continued. "Someone tried to purchase your home. They put down earnest money. We need to investigate whether they knew the sale was fraudulent." "What happens to them?" I asked. "If they were innocent buyers, they'll get their money back. If they were in on it..." He shrugged. "That's more charges." We left the station and Daniel took me to lunch at Mabel's Soul Food kitchen. Mabel herself came over to our table, a big woman with an even bigger heart. Evelyn Williams, I heard about Raymond. I'm so sorry, baby. Thank you, Mabel. And I heard about your son, too. She shook her head. Shame what this world is coming to. Children forgetting how to honor their parents. News travels fast in the Black community. By now, probably half the neighborhood knew what Darnell tried to do. You eating free today? Mabel said. Both of you. I don't want to hear nothing about it. She brought us fried catfish, collard greens, mac and cheese, and cornbread so good it could make you cry. I hadn't had much appetite since Raymond died, but I ate every bite. Felt like the first real meal I'd had in weeks. So, Daniel said, cutting into his catfish. Tell me about Spain. I smiled. First real smile in a while. It's beautiful, Daniel. Raymond and I found this villa 15 years ago. Small town called Ronda, up in the mountains. White houses, red roofs, olive trees everywhere. There's this bridge, Puente Nuevo they call it, that goes over this huge gorge. Most beautiful thing you ever saw. And you're really moving there? 3 days from now. I already got my ticket. Already arranged to have some of my things shipped. What about the house here? I want you to sell it. Real sale. Legal sale. I'll sign whatever papers you need. Money goes straight into my account. Then Darnell can't touch it. Daniel nodded. Smart. And the insurance money? Already in an account Darnell doesn't know about. Raymond set it up years ago, just in case. Just in case what? I looked at my lawyer, my friend. Just in case our son turned out to be the kind of man who'd steal from his own mother. Daniel was quiet for a minute. You think Raymond knew? I think Raymond hoped he was wrong. But yeah, he knew something wasn't right with Darnell. Last year, Darnell asked Raymond for $50,000. Said it was for a business investment. Raymond said no. They didn't speak for 3 months. You never told me that. Raymond was embarrassed, didn't want people to know. But he told me after, he said Darnell didn't want the money for business. He wanted it to bail out Keisha's brother. Something about gambling debts. Jesus. So Raymond made me promise, if anything happened to him, I was supposed to protect myself first, make sure I was taken care of before I gave Darnell anything. Sounds like Raymond was a wise man. He was, and he loved our son despite everything. But he loved me more. After lunch, Daniel dropped me home. Sister Carol was on her porch waiting. Girl, get over here and tell me everything. I spent the next hour on Carol's porch, drinking sweet tea and catching her up. Her husband Willie joined us, shaking his head at the whole story. What about the grandbabies? Willie asked. You gonna get to see Zion and Amara before you leave? That hit me hard. I hadn't thought about that. My grandbabies, 8 and 6 years old. I barely knew them because Keisha kept them away, but they were still mine. I don't know, I said quietly. You should try, Carol said. They didn't do nothing wrong. She was right. But how do you see your grandchildren when their father is about to be arrested for trying to rob you? I went home and sat with that question all evening. By the time the sun went down, I'd made a decision. I called Keisha's mother, Patricia. We'd never been close, but we were civil. Patricia, it's Evelyn. Long pause. I heard what's happening. I'm sure you did. Look, I'm not calling about that. I'm calling about Zion and Amara. I'm leaving the country in a few days, and I'd like to see them before I go. Evelyn, I don't think that's a good idea. Why? Because their father tried to steal from me? That's between me and Darnell. It's got nothing to do with those babies. Keisha says you're trying to destroy their family. I laughed. Couldn't help it. I'm trying to destroy their family? Patricia, your daughter, and my son tried to put me in a home and steal my house. But I'm the villain here? It's not that simple. Yes, it is. It's exactly that simple. Now, are you going to let me see my grandchildren or not? Another long pause. Let me talk to Keisha. She hung up. I didn't expect to hear back. But an hour later, my phone rang. Patricia again. Keisha says you can see them tomorrow. 3 o'clock at the park on Riverside. 1 hour, and she'll be there the whole time. Thank you, Patricia. Evelyn? For what it's worth, I told Keisha this was wrong. What they tried to do to you. I told her. But she did it anyway. Yeah, she did it anyway. I hung up feeling strange. Like maybe I wasn't as alone as I thought. Even Keisha's own mother knew this was wrong. The next afternoon, I drove to Riverside Park with a bag full of presents. Toys for Zion. Books for Amara. Things I'd been buying for months, waiting for a chance to see them. They were on the swings when I got there. Keisha was sitting on a bench nearby, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when she saw me, and something like guilt flashed across her face. Grandma! Amara jumped off the swing and ran toward me. My heart. I swear my whole heart just melted. She remembered me. She still called me Grandma. I caught her in a hug and she felt so small, so perfect. Zion came over too, more reserved, but he let me hug him. I brought you guys some things, I said, pulling out the presents. They tore into them like it was Christmas. Amara found a book about a princess who looked just like her. Brown skin, natural hair, beautiful. Zion got a remote control car he'd been wanting. Can we play with them now? Amara asked. Of course, baby. For the next hour, I watched my grandchildren play, pushed Amara on the swings, helped Zion race his car around the park. Normal grandma things. Things I should have been doing all along. Keisha didn't say a word to me the whole time, just sat there on her phone, pretending I didn't exist. When the hour was up, Amara hugged me tight. Are you coming to my birthday party next month? I looked at Keisha. She was looking away. Baby, Grandma's going on a trip. A long trip. But I'll send you something special for your birthday, okay? Where are you going? To Spain. It's far away across the ocean. Will you come back? I knelt down so I was eye level with her. I don't know yet, sweetheart. But I'll always love you, no matter where I am. You know that, right? She nodded, but her eyes were getting wet. Zion hugged me too. I'll miss you, Grandma. I'll miss you too, baby boy. Keisha finally stood up. Kids, let's go. Say goodbye to Grandma. They hugged me one more time, and then Keisha ushered them away. But before they got to the car, Amara turned around and yelled, I love you, Grandma! I love you too, baby! I stood there in that park until they drove away. Then I sat on that bench and cried again. Different tears this time. Tears for what I was leaving behind. For what Darnell and Keisha had stolen from me. Not money or a house, but time with my grandchildren. My phone buzzed. Daniel. Evelyn, you need to come to my office. Now. What's wrong? Just come. Please. I drove to Daniel's office with my stomach in knots. He met me at the door, his face grave. They arrested Darnell an hour ago. I felt my knees go weak. Daniel caught my arm and helped me to a chair. They found evidence that he and Keisha were working with a real estate agent who specializes in elder fraud. They've done this before to other people. Target elderly homeowners, forge documents, sell their houses, split the profits. Oh my God. It gets worse. The buyer was someone Keisha knows, her cousin. They were planning to flip the house for a profit. So it was all planned, all of it. Yes. And the DA is charging both Darnell and Keisha. Conspiracy to commit fraud, elder abuse, forgery. Darnell's looking at 3 to 5 years if convicted. 3 to 5 years. My son. In prison. Keisha too? I asked. She might get a deal if she testifies against Darnell. They're offering her probation if she cooperates. I thought about the park. About her sitting there with my grandchildren, pretending everything was normal. She already knew. She knew Darnell had been arrested, and she still brought the kids to see me because... Why? Guilt? Fear? One last chance to seem human? What do I need to do? I asked Daniel. The DA wants to meet with you tomorrow. They need your testimony for the trial. I'll be there. Evelyn, are you sure? You can still drop the charges. He's your son. I looked at my lawyer, my friend. This good man who'd helped me protect myself. Daniel, when you took an oath to practice law, what did it say? To uphold justice. Exactly. Justice. Not family loyalty. Not protecting people who do wrong just because you love them. Justice. He nodded slowly. You're right. I'm always right. Ask Raymond. That got a small smile out of him. I left Daniel's office and drove home in a daze. Darnell arrested. Keisha probably going to testify against him to save herself. My grandchildren about to watch their parents go through a trial. And me, flying to Spain in 2 days to start a whole new life. When I got home, there was someone sitting on my porch steps. A young woman, maybe 30, black with long locks and tired eyes. Mrs. Williams, she said, standing up. Who's asking? My name is Nia Robertson, your son. Your son did the same thing to my grandmother. I felt the world tilt sideways. What? 2 years ago. He and his wife convinced my grandmother to sell her house, said they'd invest the money for her. She trusted them because they seemed so nice. By the time we figured out what happened, the money was gone. She died last year, still living in an apartment, still heartbroken. I couldn't breathe. How did you find me? I managed to ask. I saw your name in the news, the police report. I had to come tell you. You're not the first. There are others. At least 3 other families we know about. Oh my God. I'm testifying at his trial. So are the other families. We want him to pay for what he did. I wanted you to know you're not alone in this. She handed me a folder full of documents. Names, dates, amounts stolen. My grandmother's name was Dorothy Robertson. She was 83 years old when your son stole her life savings. She worked as a nurse for 40 years, saved every penny, and he took it all. I opened the folder. Dorothy Robertson's picture smiled up at me from a newspaper clipping about her career. A beautiful woman with kind eyes. I'm so sorry, I whispered. Don't be sorry, Nia said. Help us make sure he can't do this to anyone else. She left, and I sat on my porch steps holding that folder. My son wasn't just a thief. He was a professional con artist who targeted elderly people, who stole from grandmothers, who destroyed families. And I had raised him. I had raised this man who could look someone like Dorothy Robertson in the eye and steal everything she had. Where did I go wrong? Inside my house, I looked at all the photos on the walls. Baby Darnell, little boy Darnell, teenage Darnell, Darnell at his college graduation, his wedding, holding newborn Zion. Where did that boy go? When did he become this monster? My phone rang. The DA's office. Mrs. Williams, this is Assistant DA Ramirez. We need to talk to you about your son's case. We've discovered additional victims. This is bigger than we thought. How much bigger? We're looking at potentially 10 to 15 victims over the last 5 years, and about $2 million in total fraud. $2 million. 10 to 15 families, all of them elderly, all of them trusting, all of them destroyed by my son. I'll help you, I said. Whatever you need. We need you to testify. And we need you to understand your son is going to prison for a long time if we can prove all of this. How long? 20 years, maybe more. 20 years. Darnell would be in his 60s when he got out. Zion would be grown. Amara would be in her 20s. His whole life gone. But then I thought about Dorothy Robertson, about her granddaughter's tired eyes, about all those other families destroyed by my son's greed. When do you need me? I asked. And that's when I heard it. Glass breaking. My back door. "Hold on," I told the DA. I walked toward the kitchen, my heart pounding. Someone was in my house. I grabbed the cast-iron skillet from the stove, my grandmother's skillet, the one that had been in my family for 3 generations, heavy enough to knock a man out cold. "I'm calling the police," I said loud enough for whoever was in my kitchen to hear. "I got a weapon, and I know how to use it." "Ma, it's me!" Darnell stumbled into the living room, and I almost dropped the skillet. He looked terrible. Eyes red and swollen, shirt wrinkled, hands shaking. "What are you doing breaking into my house?" I kept the skillet raised. "They let me out on bail. Ma, please, we need to talk." "We got nothing to talk about. Get out before I call the police again." "Ma, please." He dropped to his knees right there in my living room. Actually dropped to his knees like he was praying. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I messed up. I messed up bad." I stood there with that skillet, looking at my son crying on my floor, and felt absolutely nothing. That's what scared me most. Not anger, not sadness, nothing. "Mrs. Williams?" The DA was still on the phone. "Mrs. Williams, are you okay?" "My son just broke into my house," I said, keeping my eyes on Darnell. "I'm sending officers now. Stay on the line." "No, wait," Darnell started. "You violated your bail conditions by coming here," I said. "Daniel told me you're supposed to stay away from me." "I had to see you. Ma, they're saying I could get 20 years. 20 years! Zion and Amara? They'll be grown by the time I get out. Please, you have to help me." "Help you? Like you helped me when you tried to steal my house?" "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like, Darnell? Explain it to me. Explain how you forged my signature. Explain how you sold my house behind my back. Explain Dorothy Robertson." His face went white. "You know about her?" "I know about all of them. Her granddaughter came to see me. Showed me everything. You stole from that woman. She died in an apartment because of you." "I didn't mean... She wasn't supposed to..." He was sobbing now, full-on sobbing. "It got out of control. It started with just one thing, and then Keisha said we could do it again, and then it just kept happening, and I couldn't stop." "You couldn't stop stealing from elderly people?" "I couldn't stop disappointing everyone. You, Dad, everyone. Nothing I did was ever good enough. Dad's business was so successful and mine kept failing. I kept trying and nothing worked. And Keisha kept pushing me. She kept saying we deserved more, that we should have what Dad had. And then her brother had those gambling debts, and the sharks were threatening to kill him." "So you became a shark yourself?" He looked up at me, tears streaming down his face. "I'm your son. I know exactly who you are." Sirens outside, getting closer. "Ma, please, drop the charges. I'll pay everyone back. I'll make it right. Just please, I can't go to prison. I can't leave my kids." "You should have thought about that before you decided to steal from me. Before you decided to steal from Dorothy Robertson. Before you decided to hurt all those families." The police were at the door, banging hard. "Police, open up!" I walked to the door, still holding that skillet. Opened it. "He's in the living room," I said. "He broke in through the back door." They moved past me fast. Darnell didn't even fight. Just let them cuff him, still crying, still saying, "Ma, please, Ma, please." "Mrs. Williams, are you hurt?" Officer Martinez was there. Same officer from before. "I'm fine. He violated his bail conditions by coming here. He's going back into custody." They took him out. He looked back at me once, and I saw that little boy again. The one who used to climb into my lap and say, "Mama, I love you bigger than the sky." But that little boy was gone. Had been gone for a long time. I just hadn't wanted to see it. After they left, Sister Carol came running over in her house slippers. "Girl, I saw the police cars. What happened?" I told her everything. We sat up until 2 in the morning, drinking coffee, talking. She held my hand while I cried. Again, always crying lately. You did the right thing, she said. Then why does it hurt so much? Because he's your baby. Doesn't matter what he did. He's still your baby. She was right. He'd always be my baby. But that didn't mean I had to let him destroy me. The next morning, I met with the DA. There were 5 other families there. Nia Robertson, an elderly couple named the Washingtons, a middle-aged woman named Jasmine whose father Darnell had scammed, 2 brothers whose mother had lost her house. We all sat in that conference room and shared our stories. By the end, everyone was crying. Not just me, everyone. Your son destroyed my father, Jasmine said. My dad was a veteran, served in Vietnam, saved his whole life. Your son took everything. Dad had a stroke from the stress. He's in a nursing home now, can't even speak. I wanted to die right there. Just sink into the floor and disappear. I'm so sorry, I whispered. Why are you sorry? Mr. Washington said. He was maybe 85, his wife about the same. You didn't do this. He did. But I raised him. I must have done something wrong. No, Mrs. Washington said firmly. You didn't do this. He made his choices. He's a grown man. You can raise your children right and they still go wrong. That's life. Assistant DA Ramirez spread out documents on the table. With all of your testimonies, we have a strong case. But I need you to understand. This is going to be hard. The defense will try to paint Mrs. Williams as a vindictive mother. They'll say the other victims are lying or confused. They'll do everything they can to make your son look sympathetic. Let them try, I said. I'm testifying, all the way. So am I, Nia said. Us too, the others echoed. That afternoon, I went home and finished packing. For real this time. Not the life I was leaving behind, the life I was moving toward. I packed my grandmother's skillet, my photo albums, Raymond's favorite shirt that still smelled like him, not much else. Most of what I owned was just things, and things didn't matter anymore. Daniel came by that evening. The trial starts in 3 weeks, he said, but you'll be in Spain by then. I can fly back to testify. You sure? That's a long trip. I'm sure. Those families deserve justice. Raymond would want me to do the right thing. Daniel smiled. He would be proud of you. You know that, right? I hope so. I know so. Evelyn, you're the strongest person I've ever met. You lost your husband, discovered your son was a criminal, and you're still standing, still fighting. That takes courage. Or stubbornness. Same thing sometimes. He helped me load boxes into his truck, things I was shipping to Spain. Most of my furniture I was donating to the church. Sister Carol was taking my plants. Willie was taking Raymond's tools. That night, I sat in my empty living room one last time. Tomorrow I'd fly to Spain. Tomorrow I'd start over. Tomorrow I'd become someone new. But tonight, I was still Evelyn Williams. Still the woman who lived in this house for 52 years. Still the wife who lost her husband. Still the mother who had to turn in her own son. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Grandma, it's Zion. Mom doesn't know I have her old phone. I heard what Dad did. I'm sorry. I love you. My heart broke all over again. This child. This innocent child apologizing for his father's crimes. I called the number. He answered on the first ring. Grandma? Hey, baby. Are you really leaving tomorrow? I am. Are you mad at me and Amara? Oh, baby, no, 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 no. I could never be mad at you. This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault. Why did Dad do those bad things? How do you explain that to an 8-year-old? How do you tell a child their father is a criminal? Sometimes grown-ups make bad choices, I said. And when they do, there are consequences. Your dad made some very bad choices, and now he has to face those consequences. Is he going to jail? Probably, baby. Yes. Silence. Then, I heard Mom on the phone. She said you sent him there. She said you're mean. What do you think? Long pause. I think you're the nicest person I know. You always bring us presents. You always smile. You gave me that car yesterday even though Dad did bad things. I closed my eyes. This child was going to be okay. He was going to be more than okay. Zion, I want you to remember something. Are you listening? Yes, ma'am. You are not your father. What he did doesn't define you. You can grow up to be whoever you want to be, a good man, an honest man. Don't let his mistakes become your story. You understand? I think so. I love you, baby. You and Amara both. No matter what happens, no matter how long I'm gone, I will always love you. I love you too, Grandma. We talked for another 10 minutes before his mother called him for dinner. After we hung up, I felt something shift inside me, like a weight lifting. Those babies were going to be okay. Life would be hard for them, but they'd survive. They had good hearts. Raymond's heart. My heart. Not Darnell's. The next morning, Sister Carol drove me to the airport. Willie came too, carrying my suitcases like they weighed nothing, even though the man was 73 years old. You call us when you get there, Carol said, hugging me so tight I could barely breathe. I will. And if you need anything, I know, I'll call. And when you come back for the trial, you stay with us. I won't hear nothing else about it. Yes, ma'am. Willie hugged me too. You're doing the right thing, Evelyn. Raymond's up there smiling, knowing you're taking care of yourself. At security, I turned back one more time. Carol was crying. Willie had his arm around her. My church family. My real family. I waved goodbye and walked through. The flight was long. 14 hours with a layover in New York. I slept most of the way, dreaming about Raymond. In my dreams, he was young again, 25 years old, standing in our new house on moving day. We're going to be happy here, Evie, he said. I promise. And we were. For 52 years we were. When I landed in Madrid, then took the train to Ronda, it was late afternoon. The golden hour, they call it, when the sun turns everything honey-colored and beautiful. I took a taxi from the train station to my villa. Our villa. The one Raymond and I had loved for 15 years. The driver helped me with my bags. I stood in front of the white walls and terracotta roof, looking at the mountains in the distance, and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Inside, everything was exactly how Raymond and I had left it last summer. The blue tiles in the kitchen, the wooden beams on the ceiling, the terrace that looked out over the valley. I walked out onto that terrace and cried again. But these were different tears. Relief. Release. The tears of someone who'd been holding on so tight for so long and finally could let go. I made it, Raymond, I said to the mountains, to the sky, to wherever he was. I made it. 3 weeks later, I flew back for the trial. Carol picked me up from the airport, and I stayed with her and Willie like promised. The trial lasted 4 days. Darnell's lawyer tried everything, said I was a bitter old woman, said the other victims were confused, said Darnell was just trying to help his family. But the evidence didn't lie. The forged documents, the bank records, the testimony from the real estate agent who'd worked with him, the testimony from Keisha, who'd taken a deal to testify against him in exchange for probation. She cried on the stand. Real tears this time. I'm sorry, she said, looking at me. I'm so sorry. It was wrong. All of it was wrong. I nodded. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But acknowledgement. She'd made a choice to tell the truth. That counted for something. When it was my turn to testify, I looked right at Darnell. He looked smaller somehow. Defeated. Nothing like the confident man who'd sent me that text telling me to pack my things. The prosecutor asked me to describe what happened. I told the whole story, every detail. By the end, the jury was crying. The judge was wiping her eyes. "Mrs. Williams," the prosecutor said, "do you have anything you'd like to say to your son?" I looked at Darnell. Really looked at him. "I love you," I said. "I will always love you because you're my son. But love doesn't mean letting you hurt people. Love doesn't mean protecting you from the consequences of your choices. You did wrong. You hurt people. You hurt me. And you need to face that. You need to own it. And maybe, someday, after you've served your time and made amends, we can talk again. But not today. Today, justice needs to happen." The jury deliberated for 3 hours, found him guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced him to 18 years in prison. 18 years. I sat in that courtroom and watched my son be led away in handcuffs. He looked back at me once, mouthed, "I'm sorry." I mouthed back, "I know." Outside the courthouse, Nia Robertson found me. "Thank you," she said. "My grandmother can rest now." The Washingtons hugged me. Jasmine squeezed my hand. One by one, the families whose lives Darnell had destroyed thanked me for having the courage to stand up to my own son. "You saved other people," Mrs. Washington said. "By stopping him, you saved other families from going through what we went through. That takes strength." That night, I had dinner with Carol and Willie. We ate Carol's pot roast and Willie's famous potato salad and Sister Denise's peach cobbler. Half the church was there. Pastor Jenkins said a prayer thanking God for justice and mercy and new beginnings. "To Evelyn," he said, raising his sweet tea. "A woman of courage." "To Evelyn," everyone echoed. I flew back to Spain the next day. Carol cried at the airport again. Willie made me promise to send pictures. Pastor Jenkins gave me a Bible with all their signatures inside. "We're your family," he said. "Distance doesn't change that." Back in Ronda, I settled into my new life. I took Spanish lessons from a woman named Carmen who lived down the street. I joined a walking group that hiked the mountains every Thursday. I volunteered at the local library, reading to children in English. I made friends, real friends. Maria, who owned the bakery. Antonio, who taught me to make paella. Elena, another widow who understood what it meant to start over. Every Sunday, I video called Carol and Willie. They'd put me on speaker at church so I could hear the service. It wasn't the same as being there, but it was something. Zion and Amara wrote me letters. Real letters, with drawings and stickers and stories about school. Keisha had gotten full custody and was working 2 jobs to support them. She sent me a letter too, apologizing again, asking if someday I could forgive her. I wrote back, "Forgiveness takes time, but I'm working on it." 6 months after the trial, I got a letter from Darnell. He'd been transferred to a prison in Georgia. He'd started taking classes, working on his GED teaching credential so he could help other inmates. "Ma," he wrote, "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know I'm trying. I'm trying to become the man Dad wanted me to be. The man you raised me to be. It's going to take time, maybe the whole 18 years. But I'm trying." I cried reading that letter. Not sad tears, not happy tears. Something in between. Hope, maybe. The possibility that people can change. That redemption is possible, even for those who don't deserve it. I didn't write back right away. I needed time to think, to process, to figure out what I wanted to say. But eventually I did write back. 1 page. That's all. "Darnell, change takes action, not just words. Show me through your choices. Show me by becoming a better man. And maybe someday we can rebuild what was broken. But it starts with you. It ends with you. I love you. I always will. But love from a distance is still love. Mom." A year after I moved to Spain, I sold my house in America. Daniel handled everything. The money went into my account, and I donated half of it to a fund for elderly victims of financial abuse. The other half, I put in trust for Zion and Amara. They'd get it when they turned 25. Not before. I wasn't going to let money ruin them like it ruined their father. I bought a small art studio in Rhonda. Started painting again, something I hadn't done since before Darnell was born. Turned out I was pretty good at it. Started selling paintings to tourists. Nothing fancy. Just landscapes and portraits and little moments of beauty I found in my new life. On what would have been my and Raymond's 53rd anniversary, I hiked to the Puente Nuevo Bridge, the one Raymond and I used to visit every summer. I stood there looking at that gorge, at the river far below, at the mountains stretching out forever. "I'm okay, Raymond," I said. "I'm really okay." And I was. Not happy exactly. Not yet. But okay. Healing. Growing. Becoming someone new while still holding on to the best parts of who I used to be. That evening, I got a video call from Carol. She was at the church with what looked like 50 people behind her. "Surprise!" they all yelled. "What's this?" I laughed. "Girl, you think we forgot your anniversary? We're having a celebration in Raymond's honor. Everyone's here." They went around the room, each person sharing a memory of Raymond. Brother Willis remembered coaching Little League with him. Sister Denise remembered how he always fixed her car for free. Pastor Jenkins remembered the time Raymond stayed up all night helping rebuild the church roof after a storm. By the end, I was crying again. But happy tears this time. Grateful tears. "Thank you," I whispered. "Thank you all so much." After the call ended, I sat on my terrace watching the sun set over the mountains. Tomorrow I'd wake up and do it all again. Paint. Walk. Learn Spanish. Live. This wasn't the life I planned. Wasn't the life I expected. But it was mine. Earned through pain and courage and the willingness to choose myself when everyone else wanted me to choose them. I was 71 years old, a widow, a mother who had to send her own son to prison. A grandmother who loved from across an ocean, but I was also free, finally completely free. And sitting there on that terrace with the mountains turning purple in the fading light, I realized something important. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is save yourself, even if it means losing everything else, even if it means standing alone. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. You have to look in the mirror and know you did the right thing, even when it hurt, even when it cost you everything. I did the right thing, and I would do it again. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story in the comments. Your voice matters.